What if I told you that the golden years everyone talks about are actually shadowed by the same common health issues for 8 out of 10 people? This isn't just a coincidence, it's a stark reality. Today, we won't scare you with complicated medical jargon. Instead, we'll talk in simple terms about 5 chronic conditions that have become almost the norm for most seniors. And here's the most interesting part. You'll discover how they're connected in ways you might never have imagined. Let's be honest, as we age, our bodies are a bit like a beloved car with high mileage. Something starts to creak, the engine sputters a bit. Chronic conditions are, in essence, those age-related wear and tear issues. The word chronic isn't a death sentence. It's a condition you learn to live with and manage. Understanding these processes is the first step towards ensuring a high quality of life at any age. Kicking off our list is a condition doctors aptly call the silent killer. We're talking about arterial hypertension, or as we commonly know it, high blood pressure. So, what exactly is it? In simple terms, imagine your blood vessels as hoses carrying water. Blood pressure is the force with which that water pushes against the inside walls of the hose. With hypertension, this force becomes excessively strong and constant. The most insidious part is that in the initial stages you might not feel anything at all. No pain, no obvious discomfort. You might occasionally experience a headache or dizziness, but we often chalk that up to fatigue or changing weather, don't we? And while someone goes about their daily life, this high pressure, slowly but surely, does its destructive work. Let's return to our road analogy. Your blood vessels are smooth, elastic highways, and consistently, high blood pressure is like an endless stream of heavy trucks driving on them 24/7. First, the asphalt simply wears down, then cracks appear. Over time, the road becomes brittle and can break apart. Your blood vessels suffer in precisely the same way. Your heart has to work under immense strain to pump blood. This wears it out too. Your kidneys, which filter blood under this constant pressure, suffer. Your brain is affected, increasing the risk of stroke. This is why hypertension earned its formidable nickname. The only way to catch this silent killer is by regularly checking your blood pressure. Next on our list is an unwelcome guest that makes us feel old, stiff, and creaky: arthritis. It's a condition where joints ache and creak, turning simple movements like climbing stairs or opening a jar into a genuine struggle. Many believe arthritis is simply an old age thing, an unavoidable price we pay for the years we've lived. But this is a dangerous myth. Arthritis is a specific disease, or rather, a whole group of diseases that cause inflammation in the joints. Imagine a door hinge. When it's new and well lubricated, the door opens easily and silently. That's like your healthy joint, where bones glide smoothly against each other thanks to slick cartilage and synovial fluid. Now imagine that hinge has rusted and its lubricant has dried up. The door starts to creak, moves with difficulty, and takes effort to open. That's a joint affected by arthritis. Inflammation damages the cartilage, your body's natural lubricant and shock absorber. As a result, bones begin to rub against each other, causing pain, swelling, and stiffness. This pain cannot be ignored. It's not just discomfort, it's a signal that a destructive process is underway in your body. And while it's challenging to completely fix a rusted hinge, slowing down the corrosion and restoring some of its mobility is an achievable goal. The key is to address that creak early and never dismiss it as normal. Now let's talk about a problem that sounds sweet, but is actually quite insidious. Type 2 diabetes. It's a disease that often creeps up unnoticed, frequently masquerading as everyday tiredness. Let's break it down simply. When we eat, our body gets sugar or glucose from the food. This is our primary fuel. But for this fuel to get into our cells and give us energy, we need a special key: the hormone insulin. Imagine each cell in your body is a tiny house that needs energy to live. Insulin is the key that opens the door to this house, letting the sugar inside. With type 2 diabetes, this system breaks down. Either your body produces too few keys, or, more commonly, the locks on the cell doors stop responding to that key. So what happens? The doors don't open. Sugar can't get into your cells and remains floating in the bloodstream. Its level stays constantly high. And here's the paradox. There's plenty of fuel in your bloodstream, but your cells are starving, constantly lacking energy. This is why you might feel that persistent weakness. This sweet blood, thick like syrup, slowly damages everything in its path. It primarily affects the tiny blood vessels in your eyes, kidneys, and feet. That's why diabetes is so dangerous due to its complications. It can lead to vision loss, kidney failure, and even cause a simple scratch or wound to take months to heal. Now let's talk about the heart, the very engine of our body. And this is where we encounter ischemic heart disease, or IHD for short. If the conditions we discussed earlier were silent, this one certainly knows how to send loud and clear alarm bells. So what exactly is it? Imagine your heart as a powerful pump, relentlessly pushing blood through a network of pipes, your arteries, delivering life to your entire body. But even this pump needs its own fuel and oxygen. It gets its nourishment from its own dedicated arteries, known as coronary arteries. In ischemic heart disease, these vital pipes that feed the heart muscle itself begin to narrow. They become clogged from the inside, primarily with cholesterol plaques, much like rust and scale, build up in old water pipes. And here again, we see how everything is connected. Remember when we talked about hypertension? It's high blood pressure that damages the walls of your blood vessels, creating the perfect conditions for these very plaques to form. As a result, less blood, and therefore less oxygen, reaches the heart. When you exert yourself, perhaps by walking fast or climbing stairs, your heart needs more fuel, but it's not getting enough. That's when your heart sends out an SOS signal. This signal is a crushing, burning pain in the chest, which can radiate to your arm or neck. This is what we call angina, or chest pain. And if a pipe gets completely blocked, it leads to a heart attack. That's why it's so crucial not to ignore these initial warning signs from our body's engine. And finally, the fifth condition on our list is one that quite literally takes your breath away. This is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. While the name might sound complex, its devastating effects are all too familiar to many, especially long-term smokers. Imagine your lungs as two brand new elastic sponges composed of millions of tiny air sacs, the alveoli. When you inhale, these sponges effortlessly expand, filling with air. And when you exhale, they just as easily contract, expelling it. This entire vital process typically occurs without any conscious effort. Now, imagine for years you've been exposing those same sponges to a harsh, irritating substance like tobacco smoke. Over time, these sponges lose their natural elasticity, becoming stiff and damaged. The delicate walls between the air sacs begin to break down, and the airways themselves, your bronchi, become inflamed and constrict. This is COPD. Your lungs can no longer function effectively. They lose their natural elasticity, much like an old, stretched-out rubber band. While you might still manage to inhale, fully exhaling becomes a monumental struggle, or even impossible. As a result, stale, oxygen-depleted air gets trapped inside, leaving no room for a fresh supply of oxygen to enter your bloodstream. This is precisely why the main symptom emerges: debilitating shortness of breath. Initially, it might only manifest during physical exertion, but over time, it begins to plague individuals even at rest. Simple tasks like breathing, speaking, and even eating become incredibly difficult. This is far more serious than a mere smoker's cough, a common misconception. This is a severe, progressive, and life-altering disease that robs individuals of their most fundamental need, the ability to breathe freely and deeply. And now, for the most crucial insight. This is the paradigm shift that truly changes everything. The key isn't what these diseases are, but how they're connected. They don't exist in isolation. Imagine a domino effect. It often all starts with hypertension. Years of high blood pressure wear down blood vessels. Cholesterol easily accumulates on those damaged vessel walls, leading to coronary artery disease. At the same time, diabetes thickens the blood and further damages small blood vessels, accelerating and worsening heart and kidney problems. And breathing difficulties from COPD place an additional strain on an already struggling heart. These aren't 5 different enemies. Often, it's one large chain reaction triggered by our lifestyle many years ago, and understanding this is the key to controlling the situation. So, hypertension, arthritis, diabetes, coronary artery disease, and COPD. This is the club no one wants to join, yet millions are already members. But knowledge is your greatest strength. By understanding how one issue ties into another, you can much more effectively combat these ailments and maintain a high quality of life. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If you found it helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new episodes. Now, a question for you. Which of these problems have you or your loved ones encountered? And in your experience, what helps manage them best? Share your stories in the comments. Your experience could be invaluable to others.